I was shocked and I was very sad.
It's a terrible day for the city of Charlotte.
My prayers are with him and his family.
Now on Primetime, the city reacting to a political bombshell. Charlotte Mayor Patrick Cannon arrested, accused of bribery, theft, and corruption. Good evening. I'm Maureen O'Boyle. Great to have you with us for Primetime. FBI agents simultaneously raided Cannon's office at the Government Center, his home in Ballantyne, and his offices at his private business in Uptown Charlotte. It is part of a federal corruption probe stretching back 4 years. The affidavit says this case began while Cannon was just a member of Charlotte's City Council. The FBI accuses the mayor of taking a total of $48,000 cash from undercover FBI agents posing as developers and investors looking to do business in Charlotte. The affidavit says he was supposed to meet with an undercover agent today. Instead, the mayor was arrested. WBTV's team of journalists has been digging through this affidavit for the past 6 hours. Our Brigida Mack is in the newsroom with more on the specific allegations from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Steve Crump is at the mayor's home in South Charlotte, and Colleen Harry is at the Government Center getting reaction from the mayor's colleagues. Colleen, let's start with you. I'm sure a lot of shock out there.
Well, that's the understatement, Maureen. You can imagine the news reverberated through Government Center here and around the city of Charlotte. It had never happened before. A sitting mayor arrested on federal corruption charges. It was stunning, practically jaw-dropping when people heard the news, and they immediately tried to find out what exactly was in that affidavit. And as the news started to spread out, we're getting reaction from folks. Take a listen to what former City Council member James Mitchell had to say. He served with Patrick Cannon on the City Council, and he was also the Democratic primary in the mayoral race. He went up against Cannon.
When I first got elected, he was like a mentor to me, and I plan on reaching out to him and telling him I'm praying for his family. And let's think about his wife and his 2 lovely kids during this time, and let justice take its course.
And as justice continues to take its course, the question is, what now for the city of Charlotte? Well, city officials tell me that it is entirely up to the mayor. They cannot throw him out as mayor. State law says he can stay in the office until he is convicted. It is up to the mayor has to make that decision whether or not he will leave and fight the charges privately, whether he will stay in office and do so. Should he decide to leave, the city council will then have to appoint someone from the same party to continue that term. If he doesn't leave, he stays in office and continues to fight that charge. The one person we haven't heard from is the mayor himself. He will obviously determine which way this goes. We're live in Charlotte. Colleen Harry, WBTV, on your side.
And certainly when he makes that decision, we will pass it on to you. Steve Crump continues our live team coverage now. Steve is outside Patrick Cannon's home there in Ballantyne. And Steve, I know you watched as FBI agents removed box after box from the home. It happened about 2 hours ago.
Yeah, about 2 hours or so, roughly 90 minutes or so ago, Maureen, and it was quite a sight to see. Let me show you what's happening right now outside of the mayor's home. You can see there's still a couple of news crews out there anticipating a possible statement or the possibility that they may leave. But those boxes were removed from the home here at about 5:30 this afternoon. Now, we basically saw federal officials, federal agents, move a computer out along with a stack of boxes. We don't necessarily know what's in those boxes. And you talk about some of the folks in this relatively quiet subdivision. They were just floored when they came home and saw a lot of law enforcement vehicles, television news vehicles, and the like. And you talk about this case, well, they say that Charlotte has lost its Mayberry image.
Yeah, I think Chicago, New York, L.A., but never Charlotte. No, I'm depressed about it, and my prayers are with his family. I'm so sorry.
Now, we learned from a former federal law enforcement official that this case did have its roots all the way to the Justice Department in Washington, D.C., but as Colleen said just a short time ago, no sign of Patrick Cannon. For now, we're live in South Charlotte. Steve Crump, WBTV on your side, Primetime.
Steve, thank you. The criminal complaint, I have it here from the U.S. Attorney's Office, is 42 pages long. It says the FBI's investigation started back in 2010, then goes into very specific detail about interactions between the mayor and those undercover officers in 2012. Our Brigida Mack is live in the newsroom with a breakdown of some of those encounters. A lot of the stuff So shocking, Brigida.
It certainly is, Maureen, because this is what is called a speaking affidavit. That is why these interactions and everything in terms of a case that the FBI has laid out are so detailed, because this is stuff that they won't be able to talk publicly about. It says on February 21st, an undercover FBI agent left a briefcase containing $20,000 in cash with Cannon in the mayor's office. The affidavit says the cash was for a deal being made with a foreign investor to bring more development to Charlotte. Another section of the court document talks about another interaction with another undercover officer, this time at an upscale apartment in South Park. It says Cannon accepted $12,500 under the guise of a 0% return on investment in exchange for future help with permitting, zoning, and or ABC issues. The affidavit then says Cannon placed the money near his ear and fanned the bills. Again, these are all allegations from the criminal complaint filed by the U.S. Attorney's Office. At this point, they are just allegations. We know that this will have to work its way through the courts. Cannon is still the mayor of Charlotte, and he is innocent until proven guilty. The mayor was arrested at his office in the government center today around noon. He then went before a judge who released him on a $25,000 bond. Maureen?
All right, Brigida, and one thing that comes up on page 27, and we have this at WBTV.com, the entire thing if you're curious to read it. Cannon is talking to one of those undercover officers who's posing as an investor with that $25 million to invest in the city. He says, I told Trenna she has a point. That's what Cannon said. That's his wife, Trenna. The agent says she has what? A point, 1%. The undercover agent then laughs. At that point, obviously, he's talking about her getting a percentage of that $25 million investment, according to the affidavit. You probably know Governor Pat McCrory is a former mayor of Charlotte, but you may not know he is also a lifelong friend of Patrick Cannon. Couldn't talk on camera today, but he sent us a statement. McCrory says, I am both saddened and angered because I have known Patrick and his family for over 30 years. But more than anything, my heart is broken for the city of Charlotte, adding, this is not the city that I know, served, and love. This alleged behavior is inexcusable and